Let's get right into it. Number 10. The forgotten fork. Picture this. You walk into the clinic after months, maybe even years, of belly trouble, ready for a dull answer. Could be heartburn, maybe tension, or just needing to sip more fluids through the day. Then comes the image test, glowing wildly, almost festive. The physician speaks softly, telling you what shows up clear: a fork lodged deep. Not plastic, metal, the kind used for greens. Sitting there quietly, making itself at home. This isn't made up. Medical workers really have removed spoons and knives from folks who swear they never swallowed them on purpose. Before you argue, thinking how impossible that sounds, consider what your mind does when under pressure. Memory doesn't record every moment like film. It acts more like someone half listening while juggling 5 tasks, losing details when overloaded, stressed, out cold, or simply elsewhere in thought. Now imagine trying to recall gulping down an object too big to ignore, yet your mind draws blank. That happens more than expected during operations, treatments, or foggy moments when awareness slips away. The body does try to protect itself. There's a gag response built right into the throat. But that reaction? It bends easily under pressure. When chemicals flood the system, when stress piles up, when injury dulls control, that instinct fades like distant noise. Strange things start after that. Shock does not hit right away. Adjustment comes first, quietly. Around the foreign item, new cells creep in over time. Swelling stays low but never leaves. Pain shifts slowly into background noise, something odd but familiar. That fork? Not out to get you. Just there. Hanging around like an awful tenant, one that sometimes jabs at your gut when you least expect it. Years go by before doctors spot these items, often while checking into unexplained pain. Removal brings surprise, then disgust, followed by a quiet anger at what the body has tolerated without warning. Your body spotted a fork, didn't think much of it, just went along like it was supposed to be that way all along. Number 9. The long-term lightbulb. A doctor somewhere once spoke these words: "We found a light bulb inside you, keeping face straight, voice steady, eyes focused." It came out whole. Whole doesn't help much in situations like that. Something meant for lamps ends up inside people more than you would guess. These objects have no place in the body. Not a meal, never prescribed, entirely out of sync with how humans work. Still, hospitals find them now and then. Often it begins with a person saying things do not feel right, though that is like describing a hurricane as windy. What happens inside the mind often stays hidden. Curiosity drives us, impulses take over, confidence swells beyond reason. Shame slips in quietly, changing decisions without warning. Help gets postponed, not planned, just allowed. Thoughts like, "it'll fix on its own," rise up easily. Later feels safer than now. Waiting becomes a strategy, even when nothing really changes. Here is the truth: that outcome won't happen. Swelling shows up first when the body meets something strange inside. A light bulb stuck deep? Suddenly pulling it free turns rough. Muscle tightness joins fast, then silent cramps build. Help from someone trained starts looking necessary real quick. Those muscles aren't on your side. Quiet panic lives there now. A single misstep might turn calm into chaos when it comes to whole light bulbs. Under tension, the glass holds danger like a scene before disaster strikes. Sudden motion brings sharp pieces where there was once just light. Medical staff take out these bulbs slowly, using precise instruments. Their hands stay steady, their nerves even more so. What sticks isn't the surprise. It's the lengths people reach just to dodge shame, all while holding on to a bright reminder of choices gone wrong deep within. Rather than speak up, your mind risks broken pieces inside. Admitting trouble feels worse than danger. That tells you plenty about how big our egos can be. Number 8. The traveling toothbrush. A few folks remember to toss a toothbrush into their suitcase before heading off. Others somehow wind up carrying one inside them without meaning to. Believe it or not, this actually happens. Medical workers have pulled intact brushes out of individuals who insisted, honestly, that they didn't know how it ended up where it was. Something about that spot near the back trips a switch. Your body reacts like it's under attack. Throat tightens, brush veers sideways. Protection mode activates, only now it works against you. A wave of alarm follows, sharp and fast. Muscles lock without warning. Next comes disbelief, soft at first. You pause, thinking maybe nothing really happened. It did. Funny thing happens once food moves deeper inside. Digestion runs like a factory with no brakes. When material crosses into the next stage, everything behind pushes forward without pause. Nobody checks if what's moving is safe to process. Imagine someone ignoring a warning label on a toy. That kind of silence fills the gut when danger slips through. Organs act as though motion itself means approval. Something feels off, yet most dismiss the first signs. Just a little ache. Stomach turning. That weird certainty things are broken on some invisible level. Still, people adjust without noticing. When hurt creeps in gradually, the mind accepts it like distant noise rather than a warning. It's often too late when doctors find toothbrushes inside patients. By then, blockages have happened. Or internal damage. Maybe an infection took hold. That's when hospital teams must step in calm, focused, retrieving a tool designed for smiles from spots it should never reach. A bristle never lied to you. The mind played tricks instead. Under pressure, logic slipped, rebounds seemed fixable, consequences ignored. Shame felt worse than harm done inside. Number 7. The wandering surgical sponge. Suddenly, years after leaving the hospital bed behind, discomfort creeps in, dull at first, then sharp. A strange ache appears where nothing should be wrong. Swelling follows, maybe a fever out of nowhere. Doctors run tests, puzzled by symptoms without cause. One image changes everything. A shadow on the scan points to an intruder left long ago. Inside, unnoticed, something foreign stayed behind. Not tissue, not scar, but fabric forgotten during closing stitches. The body housed it like an unwelcome guest hiding in plain sight. Fault doesn't lie with the person on the table. The structure around them cracks under pressure. These cloths soak up liquid during operations, meant to be tracked without fail. Counting falls to people though. Mistakes follow just as naturally. A sponge forgotten inside? The body does not give up right away. It acts as if something foreign has overstayed its welcome. Little by little, layers of cells wrap around it. Tough fibers weave a barrier over time. Defenses pile up, brick by quiet brick. Years may pass without warning signs. Silence stretches through the months. Over time, the sponge leads to ongoing swelling, discomfort, or illnesses resistant to standard care. A closer look by physicians reveals an object that clearly wasn't meant to remain inside. Odd how this sticks to the mind differently than expected. Medicine seems less reliable now. Bureaucracy makes your skin crawl, like it touched something private. It sinks in slowly. Doctors follow steps fueled more by coffee than certainty. The stray thought, really, how harm can come not from intent but neglect. The sponge had no plan, just got left behind. That absence speaks louder than any attack could. You were used like a drawer where things disappear into silence. Your body's defense crew battled a household cleaner for ages since no one realized it had gone unseen. Number 6. The coin collection. Frequently, children take in coins without harm. The real surprise shows up later. Doctors pulling out heaps of them, stacked oddly like forgotten loot buried deep in the belly. Slow changes usually bring this on. A single penny hardly ever leads to issues. Either it moves through or rests without harm. Yet a few folks, often kids, sometimes grown-ups with particular urges or mind patterns, keep doing it again and again. Thoughts lock onto it. Doing it feels calming, almost routine. Inside you, machinery meant for food meets something it cannot handle, metal. Coins stay whole. They gather in piles. Clusters form without warning. Slowly they shut things down. You might throw up. Pain can start. Eating becomes impossible. An image shows treasure where it should not be, deep within. What happens in the head matters most. Logic gets pushed aside by urgent urges. Actions repeat themselves inside the flesh, held tight like old records playing again. When the objects are out, attention shifts, away from belly tissue toward thought patterns running beneath. Your system never asked for extra coins. Yet your mind kept pulling them in, one by one. Number 5. The living maggots. That itch beneath your skin never stops. It wriggles, shifts, refuses to be still. Scratching changes nothing. So does scrubbing hard with soap. Pretending it isn't happening only lasts so long. A visit follows. The doctor peers closely, says words that land like stones: maggots, alive, underneath, real. Sometimes flies drop their eggs right onto skin or open sores. That leads to a problem known as myosis. Once they hatch, tiny grubs start digging in. These little creatures treat living tissue like a place to stay, completely ignoring space or privacy. Strange how quietly it happens. When nerves are damaged or the skin lacks care, signals fade before reaching the mind. A quiet takeover slips past alertness. Smaller alarms drown beneath louder body demands. Right then, a hidden eater thrives unseen. Inflammation flares up. Immune cells swarm in. Yet the larvae thrive anyway. Slow, unhurried. Just being there. That stillness tightens the dread. Worse than noise. One at a time, doctors take them out by hand, just as rough as you might imagine. Long after the body heals, the mind stays caught in loops. Some feel shaky nerves return without warning. Others swear they sense something crawling where there's nothing. Trust in how their skin feels never fully comes back. Flesh should keep things out. When it fails, myosis shows up, nature slipping through without asking. Number 4. The forgotten baby twin. Surprising but true. This claim feels made up, yet it's real. A few times ever, medicine has seen what they call fetus in fetu, where one twin grows oddly inside the other. Hidden within the belly, it shows up now and then. Close to internal parts, tucked away without notice. Grown people have learned about it only later in life. A few weeks after conception, identical twins sometimes fail to fully split apart. While one carries on growing like usual, the second gets absorbed instead of forming its own body. That undeveloped twin folds into the other's form during growth. What remains shows up later as clumps inside, sometimes shaped oddly like limbs, teeth, even patches of hair. Something inside acts like a growth, though it isn't malignant. Not quite right since the start, never fixed itself. Silent for long stretches, doing nothing noticeable. One morning, ache shows up, or puffiness, and scans follow soon after. That moment when words come out of the physician's mouth nobody expected to need. What happens inside the mind can feel heavy. Carrying a piece of someone else's existence without ever knowing it, that unsettles people. Who you think you are begins to blur when your own flesh holds traces of another story. The belief that our bodies belong only to us cracks under such weight. Your mind craves stories that make sense. But this tale runs off the rails right away. Number 3. The cement stomach. Breathe easy, construction crew. Wet cement inside someone? Doctors saw it happen more than once. A bet led one person to do it. Mistakes caused others. People just don't always see what comes next. Moisture fades fast in fresh concrete. Deep within the belly, things shift slowly. Heat mixes with dampness, sparking changes beneath the surface. Little by little, a firm shape takes hold, matching every curve of its container. An exact cast of sorrow from inside. Hardened, it resists any breakdown by the body. Stomach acid has no effect on it at all. Movement through the gut just stops working. Digestion shuts down entirely. Eating or drinking brings sharp discomfort every time. A single option often stands out when it comes to treatment. Out comes the hard mass, formed quietly inside without intent. Time was supposed to heal according to the mind. But the body showed a different story. Number 2. The forgotten medical tools. Inside a body, a surgeon might spot something odd. Tools left behind. Scissors where they don't belong. A clamp resting where it never should. Items supposed to exit the same way they entered, now stuck. Forgotten during closing. Hidden beneath skin. Mistakes seep in tired minds, mixed messages, slips that stick. The flesh learns anyway, reshaping itself around harm. Tough patches grow where softness lived. Things inside move when they should stay put. What once stung now just lingers. Few realize how long someone might go, mistaking silent intrusions for unexplained illness. Years pass before understanding dawns. What felt like mystery was actually a foreign object settling into daily life without permission. Your body's wiring handles stress better than you'd think. When pushed, it finds a way to treat chaos like routine. That adaptability? Hard to ignore. A little scary, honestly. Number 1. The accidental bullet. Now and then, someone finds odd stuff in their body after doing something foolish. Sometimes, though, it's just life tossing an unseen piece forward without warning. One day, someone walks in with a sore shoulder. Turns out, there is a bullet lodged near their spine. They never felt it happen. No fall. No memory of violence. Sometimes the clue is just a dull ache that won't quit. Other times, silence. Then comes the scan. A shadow appears. Cold steel hiding beneath skin. Not part of the design. Never belonged. This often occurs if the bullet travels slowly or passes through softer areas, leaving little mark outside. Healing follows naturally. Discomfort lessens over time. The mind treats it more like an odd moment than something life-threatening. Recollection drifts away quietly. All on its own, your body shifts into fix-it mode. Since pulling out the bullet isn't possible, it seals the area off instead. A casing of tough tissue grows around the metal, much like how dangerous material gets contained underground. If nothing vital is struck, life carries on without major disruption. Time moves forward, slow at first, then by big leaps. Whole stretches of years fade into memory. Strange how the mind reacts. Betrayed, some say, by what they thought was real. Who would guess a bullet stayed hidden inside? Not likely to believe it at first. Pain does not work like a gauge on a machine. More like a guard that chooses when to speak up. When danger fades in the brain's eye, the signal just softens. Some folks walk out of hospitals with a piece of violence lodged inside them. That happens when pulling the bullet risks worse harm than leaving it be. Survival matters more than stories. The body pays no mind to endings that feel complete. When danger passes, it may just hold on, like forgetting change tucked away. A bullet inside? Just another thing it learned to carry. It turns out odd objects find their way into human bodies not due to weakness, but thanks to a shocking ability to adjust. Survival often wins over comfort. Forks rest in flesh, glass lingers, cement hardens inside, bugs crawl where they shouldn't, metal stays put, old errors remain buried, all tolerated just so breathing continues. Which is impressive and deeply unsettling. That's all for today. I'll be making similar videos in the future. Subscribe to see them.